preparing live stream. And you're now on YouTube. You may go ahead and begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Forever and a Day After Show with your host, Dorrell Anthony and Matthew Preston. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, Dorrell. How you doing?
Good. I'm so glad. I didn't get with you last week. I enjoyed the show with you and Candace. You guys killed it.
Oh, we missed you.
I know, but I am happy to be back. Antoine did not want Danielle doing his show, so no. I feel happy to be back. So what's been up? How have you been? Today, as we know, is Valentine's Day, or as some people like to say, Single Awareness Day. How do you feel? I see you're wearing red in support.
Yeah, I like cue eye roll. No, I really this I feel like this holiday is very much like New Year's, where it's like you have to have somebody, you have to give them chocolates, you have to buy them dinner, which I did. But I'm not going to talk about that. But I'm also wearing red to support, correct, because it is Valentine's Day and it's all about love.
Oh well, look, listen, I agree with you. New Year's, the show Soap Passions, as everyone knows, we used to have this thing like whoever you kiss at the stroke of midnight, you'll spend the rest of your year with. So for many years in New Year's, I would do that. I would try to at midnight, if I'm dating somebody, I was like, or I'd kiss someone, I'm like, oh, we're going to be together for the rest of the year. We didn't even last 5 minutes.
Didn't they do that on Sunset Beach too, which was like the whole premise of the show was you find your lover at the dock,
the sun,
the sunset,
at the dock,
at a certain time.
Yeah, it's those tropes. Soap tropes, unfortunately, has made a lot of people in love and hopeless in love and running around thinking that that's how their world's going to be. But I don't know.
Love in the daytime.
Love in the daytime or anytime, which I'm so excited that we're here to talk about the most recent episodes of Forever and a Day. Our season 2 has kicked off. It is absolutely going amazing. Thank you guys so much for all of you out there who have been listening in, tuning in. We have some amazing surprises for you on the way. And our most recent episodes have hit an all-time high. Thanks to all of our listeners out there. We love you guys.
We certainly do. And I have to say, we have a lot to talk about because these past episodes were electric. They were so good.
They were so good. And it's crazy because, and we talked about this before, it's like I'm a fan of the show as well as being a part of the show. So sometimes I have to take myself out of the situation, especially if Antoine's not in an episode. I'm kind of like, I didn't even know this was happening. This is so great. It's really well done. And, props to our writers and creators for everything that they're doing for the show. And I know it's only going to get better and go uphill from here. There's so many fans actually who continue to say like, oh my God, we wish we could see this in person. And so maybe we'll go to talk to Candace and Casey about doing a live episode reading one day. I don't know, just an idea I had. I don't know.
That would be so much fun, just because going back to when we did the very first reading for the pilot episode, that was really what made me such a fan of the show, which is being there with everyone, listening with everyone, and I think that is an amazing idea. So hopefully we'll do that.
Well, I think we might know the people to talk to make it happen. So. Yeah, we'll see. So today's episode, we have, like you said, we have a lot to talk about, but we have a really special guest on today's episode. We are so excited and honored to have Kristina Sullivan, who plays the wonderful and devious Stephanie, on the show today. And we're going to talk to her about her standalone episode that just recently aired and what that episode meant to her, plus all of her other ventures that she has going on right now.
So excited to talk to her. Let's bring her on. Let's get her.
Bring her on.
My scene partner. There she is.
Hey, Kristina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You look beautiful. I love you on the show, and I am such a huge fan of you on and off the show. I think everything that you've done, which you're going to tell our listeners about, is so wonderful. So I'm honored to be working with you.
You. Feeling is mutual.
Yay.
Kristina, I have to ask, are you wearing golden because you're the golden child of JLJ Media?
No, I'm not. That's just a coincidence.
It's all out of love. No, and we say that, and I say that I love because you really have done so much with JLJ Media. Tell us, how many projects are you currently involved with JLJ Media?
Well, let's see. There's Forever and a Day, Mistletoe Road, the really short podcast, Claws the series. I don't know. Maybe there's something else I'm forgetting. If there is, sorry, but those are the first ones that come to mind.
I counted 4. That's amazing.
And I love it. And out of all of those, Kristina, I'm sure you take a different experience from each one of those projects that you do. And so talk to us a little bit about how you first became involved with JLG Media.
I first became involved with JLJ Media was Forever and a Day. So that's the first one. And then from there, I started participating in other things.
That's amazing. I mean, look, you have been doing a lot of work, and you've recently, before we talk about, because we definitely want to get into a lot of things with you, including your standalone episode that just recently aired. But I wanted to talk to you about your monologue book that you wrote recently. You were able to share it with a lot of the cast of Forever and a Day. And I want to tell you from myself, I am personally thankful. It's so great to have that kind of tool. So what inspired you to write that?
Well, I had a lot of time on my hands sitting in my house, and I actually saw a video series that Gloria Calderon Collette did. She's the one who did One Day at a Time. And she said that one of the things that she did in her career is she wrote a monologue book. And so that really inspired me. So I thought, well, I'll write a monologue book too, but I'll do monologues and scenes. So I wrote this book, Monologues and Scenes 101, and it's 101 monologues and scenes. And once I thought like, hey, it would be cool to call it Monologues and Scenes 101. Like that sounds really cool. But then I realized I now have to write 101 of them. So it took me like 2 months. So from like mid-October to mid-December, I did a whole lot of writing and it kept me busy. So that was good.
And echoing what Dorrell said, we are so very thankful that you actually gifted us this book. As for any actor, writer out there, artist, where can people find it?
It's on Amazon, Monologues and Scenes 101 on Amazon. So yeah, anybody please go and buy it and enjoy.
And they can get on PDF, Kindle. Is it a hardback or soft cover? What format?
Yeah. If you like paperback, they can mail you a paperback book, and you can actually hold it in your hands and feel the pages and the paper, because some people prefer that. Or if you prefer to have the ebook, you can look on your laptop or phone, and you have that option as well.
What did it mean to you whenever it came out in print? You held it in your hand. What was that feeling like?
Am I a horrible author who has never bought her own book?
What?
That is a gag. Listen, I totally get it. So you're like one of those people, Kristina, who when they do projects, sometimes they don't watch their own work back.
Well, no, I mean, I've read all the monologues and scenes multiple times, but I just haven't actually purchased a copy for myself. And a couple of my friends have, and they've like taken pictures like, look, I bought your book. And I'm like, yay, I'm so happy you bought it. And so they've held it in their hands, but I haven't.
Kristina, you actually inspired me. I feel like this is such a Jonah moment here, but I might just send you a copy of your own book.
Oh my God, I love that.
He does like gifts.
Oh, well, that is true. We do know that. And speaking of gifts, so since you are a writer and monologues are so long, they should be called monologues.
That was very good. That was
Thank you. A little bit of splicing there. We have a cute little fun game that we want to play with you called Candygrams. So because it's Valentine's Day, that those little heart-shaped candies that have messages on them, you're familiar with those, correct?
Right.
I've eaten a few. Dorrell, do you like them? Do you eat them?
I love them. My favorite is like the white ones and the pink ones. Some of the other flavors aren't as good, but whatever.
Well, we know that Kristina Sullivan, and especially your character, Stephanie, is quite flavorful. She's very full of flavor and so forth. We want to ask you for some characters. What would you put as messages on candy hearts? You ready?
Okay.
Okay, fine. So, Dorrell, I'll go first. What would you say from your Candygram to Leslie?
To Leslie, I would say, I can have your daddy whenever I want him.
Oh my God.
Jackson. So Doreen Jackson.
Well, speaking of that, what would you say to Isaac?
I don't know, maybe been there, done that. Because at this point, she's kind of cool off of him. So been there, done that.
It's so funny, as you're saying, I'm like picturing it. I'm like, been there, done. Yeah, that would probably fit. All right, the next character that we want to know you're going to send a Candygram message to would be Donovan.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Yes.
And I'd have the Mariah song playing in the background as I'm sending.
I was gonna say that you absolutely.
Or also, of course, or also leave me alone.
Yeah.
Dorrell, your turn.
Yes. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Detective Lockridge.
Gosh, I don't know about him because so far he's pretty useless. So maybe just a question mark, because this dude is like, come on, at this point in the story, what have you done?
That's true.
Question mark.
Question mark.
Well, to be fair, every soap opera detective, I mean, Paul Williams, they kind of always have to be kind of not dopey, but clueless, because they'll eventually get the job done, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, but
right,
that's the same for like soap lawyers too. Like they literally never win a case. It's ridiculous.
That's true. That is so true. So next character that you're sending a Candygram to is Miranda.
Oh, sorry, girl.
2 words.
Sorry.
Love. Okay, so I'm gonna ask this one because it would not be good for Matthew to ask because I want to see Jonah.
I mean, Jonah and Isaac are pretty much in the same boat at the moment. So he would have to have the same been there, done that candy as Isaac.
Or what? Well, I guess what about
sorry about that,
more desks?
Ooh. Well,
No.
yeah.
Well, I mean, how big are these? Like, I see the little bitty baby ones, and I'm like, are we gonna have little bitty writing on it?
Maybe a little bit bigger ones, you know, for the bigger messages, and the little ones, you know.
Yeah.
In our imaginary candy shop.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for playing that game. And now that we've gotten some fun, actually, we want to talk about Stephanie before we get into the recaps. Oh my gosh, this season already, so much has happened. If you haven't already listened,
it's starting off with a bang. Like literally, it's crazy.
Yeah. But what was it like? If you haven't already listened, to the listeners out there, please, don't tune out right now. And then come back to this once you're done listening, because we're gonna give you some spoilers, major spoilers. But what was it like to work with? Speaking of Doreen Jackson, Joelle Allen. What was it working with her?
Great. Like, I'm just very thankful for Ms. Candy Mack because she's the one who she must be magical somehow because she was able to get Ms. Allen on the show. I don't know what Candace did. Like Candace is just so amazing to even get her on the show. But working with her, I didn't know what to expect going into it, but she's just so down to earth and funny. She was laughing and joking with us. And there's this one really hilarious story. So when she looks at me, you know, looking at me, you can't necessarily tell what race I am. Some people think I may look a little Blasian or whatnot. And so she was like, oh, well, if I'm her mother, then who's her father? Yeah, maybe BD Wong. Let me call my friend BD right now. And so she calls BD on the phone and he doesn't answer. So she texts him and she takes a picture of us because we're on Zoom together. She takes a picture of the screen, texts it to BD, and she's like, this could be our daughter right here. And it's like, what? Like, not only, you know, am I getting to act with Miss Allen, who's a legend, but like, she's calling BD Wong, like he's amazing too. And it's just, it's been great working with her. She's really nice, really cool.
I'm blown away. That's amazing. Like I think the energy is so great. And I think that I hadn't thought of that before until you said BD Wong. And I was just like, oh my God, like what? And then I like picture what he looks like and I'm looking at you now. And now I cannot unsee them two together producing you.
Yeah. So, hey, Mr. Wong, if you happen to be watching this show.
Oh, you best believe that I'm going to, hopefully, I'm going to hunt down his social media and he will be getting a link to this episode because I want to see BD Wong on Forever and a Day. Let's make that happen, okay?
I would love it. Let's speak it into existence.
Hashtag BD Wong on FAAD.
Yes.
I love it. And, like you said, there is something magical about Candice Mack, like something that she does and the way that she presents and her love for the show just makes everyone be like, hell yeah, I want to do it. So I think that if anybody could make it happen, she's the woman.
Yes, I am very impressed with her.
Yeah. So guess what? Why you are impressed, not why you are impressed because of these stories for Forever and a Day. So Dorrell, Kristina, are you ready to recap the 2 episodes of Forever and a Day?
Let's talk it, baby. Let's do it.
I'm pulling up my notes right now. This is how much we love the show. Notes. We take notes.
Yeah. I got all these wonderful notes from Matthew, and I'd made some notes last night. And something before we jump into the recaps that really stuck out to me is we're continuing to see more of the family units in these episodes that are coming out. There was a scene with JJ and Danielle, and we're seeing all of Stephanie's backstory. And to me, I'm just like, you really feel the family units of the show, and it's came together so beautifully.
Yeah, you do. You're seeing more of the Bennetts too, and I'm happy about that.
Yes, you are.
Hashtag more Bennett. That's all I got to say to that. And I'm saying that as a fan. Wink, wink. That's how it works. All right, let's get into it. So we start off with Miranda throws herself into business. It's Donovan. He's an artist? ? A photo flashes back to the signing of divorce papers with her and Jonah. She smashes art, which makes me wonder, who's cleaning that up? Her assistant, Tracy?
Probably.
Stay away from Donovan. Warning, stay away.
Guys, is it something, but all artists, are they psycho? What is the deal? That's pretty insane. And it's see the red flags, baby. Stay away from Donovan, please.
Very early Franco days on General Hospital.
Oh yeah, very much.
And something else that I definitely love about, I'm going to say Tracy, is because we see this a lot in soap operas. The assistant, the soap opera assistant. There's, I believe, in Young and the Restless, you had Connie, Megan from Bold and the Beautiful. I'm trying to think of, on Guiding Light, Allison Janney was a maid, so she kind of was an assistant. I'm sure there's on Days of Our Lives with
Titan and stuff. They used to have a assistant on Titan. I forgot her name that worked there as well. So yeah, that was quite a few.
Stephanie was an assistant until she quit.
She was.
I love that we have these little assistants as well. But actually I remember it was so funny because reading or listening to that scene, I forgot that we did that scene. And whenever she was thinking about the flashback, I was like, oh wait, we actually did record that.
Yeah. Sometimes you forget. Whenever you do so much work as an actor, you kind of forget. And it now reminds me of the daytime subs when they film things a month or so ahead, and then when it airs, they're like, oh, we forgot. I mean, and God bless Days of Our Lives cast and crew who films so many months ahead, they don't even know what storyline is going on, and it's crazy. So yeah, sometimes you forget the scenes you do.
And I totally kind of feel bad for Jonah in this situation as well, because he really is. In the previous episodes, we see him trying to make amends, trying to be there for his ex-wife, and she's just like, nope, you done screwed up. There's no more chances. He's really kind of taking a beat down, and you sort of hear it where he's just like, I'm trying to fight for us, but I'm not going to fight you the way that you're fighting me.
Do you feel though that he kind of deserves it after everything, or do you feel like this is the making of a real life couple where they go through things and there's a way to hopefully come out of this on the other end?
I'll let Kristina answer that one.
Oh, well, I do recall, Stephanie asked Jonah, hey, if you don't win this governor race, are you going to leave your wife? And he was like, well, maybe I will. So I don't know. Maybe he's going to be cool with the divorce after a while. Maybe he won't be so sad as time goes by, but I don't know. Don't know what will happen, because Casey and Candace never tell me what is going to happen. So I don't know, but I'm just speculating. Maybe after a while, he'll be happy that he's divorced.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. And
I tried to slap them.
You got to
What were
tune
you
in.
saying?
Also, you got to tune in. That's the joy of Forever and a Day. So moving on to the next plot, we by the way, from last week's episode, you have to realize that sometimes I will have Wendy. I like to call them Wendy Williams moments, because I'm a huge fan of the Wendy Williams show, and what I love about her is that she is just so live, and she's like, I'm a mess, and like Wendy, I'm a mess. So guess what? I will mess.
I'm a mess too.
Right, Dorrell, and that's why I love doing this show with you.
Yeah, we're literally a complete mess, but it's somehow it works.
Somehow.
I look forward to it. Somehow it works.
So we have Isaac informs Leslie that Stephanie no longer works for him. Leslie becomes softer on her dad for trying, but a gambling secret comes out.
I mean, look. Those are the actual reactions. I just want to point out something. Those are the actual reactions I have to some of the plot twists in this show. Like, you'll be in a scene and you're like, oh, they're just discussing something, and then something will drop and you're like, what in the you're like, it's crazy. Yeah, Isaac informing Leslie about that. I mean, Stephanie quit, so it ain't like, he did anything. But how do you feel about that, Kristina, like him and Leslie having that scene discussing Stephanie?
Well, it was a little surprising, because I would have assumed Leslie would have been like, goodbye and good riddance. I'm glad she's gone. Stay away from my daddy. But her reaction of being like, oh no, like, you guys worked well together. It's like, oh, really? Because that's not what you were saying before. But maybe she's turning into a nicer person towards Stephanie.
And this is why, this is what I like about Leslie. This is the Leslie that I like. I like to see this softer side of her. Not so attacking, not so territorial, and just instead of, again, going after Isaac and being like, well, I told you so, and by the way, I told you so. She's just like, but you tried, Dad, and there's no fault for that. But this gambling secret, oh my gosh, and that's huge in the past, with this family's past.
Yeah. I mean, well, one thing I want to say real quick on the Leslie and Stephanie thing, I feel like I've always kind of felt that there was a little bit that Leslie could maybe see a little bit of herself in Stephanie, and probably vice versa. And I think that sometimes when you have a conflict with someone, you have more in common with them than you do not. So maybe that's why she reacted that way, of like not being like, I told you so. And I think that she really does want a stronger relationship with her father. So I think that there was a lot of things going into that, and that probably helped. But then here comes this gambling business. So, we'll see. I think that and this is what I was speaking about with the family unit part of it. It's like, sometimes you realize that like things aren't so bad, and it doesn't have to be so confrontational all the time.
Yeah. Next plot, we have Detective Altridge gets a break in Stephanie's case. Donovan is living across the street. Game on, Donovan. Game on.
That was such a fierce scene. You were like, you want to play? Bitch, let's play. I'm sick of this. Yeah, useless Detective Altridge. Talk to us about that. Kristina, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he is pretty useless. Although, he did give the information that Donovan's across the street, but like, where across the street? Like, which building, which apartment number? Like, I need more information than just across the street. What am I going to do? Knock on everybody's door to see exactly where he is? So useless. That information's useless. Across the street, okay. Yeah. What am I going to do with that?
Yeah, what does Donovan have to do to, like, get arrested? Because he's done a lot already. And they're just like, oh, don't worry. We can send somebody over there. And Stephanie's like, oh, I'll be dead by then. So, you can do that, but he'll kill me.
It's just so sad. But what's crazy about that, though, Kristina and Matthew, is that there are real life situations like that, unfortunately, where people are being stalked and they are in a situation. And I've heard many times where police and detectives will tell them, like, well, until they do something physically that could hurt you or whatever, we can't get involved. And it's so crazy because it's like, so do they have to physically harm me or kill me for you to do something? And a lot of times that's why when you see these cases, I've been watching a lot of like homicide murder mystery shows, you know, from the past, and it's crazy because those stories always come unresolved sometimes because the people didn't do anything to stop it from happening when they could have. So while that was very annoying and useless information, it's unfortunately very real for a lot of people out there.
It's a very, very scary and sad situation. And I also will say, if you kind of look at like the whole Fatal Attraction portion of it, I always was on team Glenn Close just because I felt like, you know, karma kind of got Michael Douglas's character. However, in this situation, it's a little bit different because what did Stephanie do to deserve this kind of thing? And then it also makes you think of, through Donovan's mind, of what makes him tick, what makes him go to this length for her. And I think that that's something that we're going to see, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. Well, the next one I want to talk about is Stephanie and Jonah unexpectedly reunite. Awkward, especially with Jonah doing damage control. Jonah apologizes for everything. However, Stephanie is like, cold. So,
yeah, poor Jonah, because Miranda doesn't want him. Stephanie doesn't want him.
He's taking a beat down. He's getting a beat down.
I mean, I think he kind of deserves it. Look, at the end of the day, I know you're protective of your character, right? I know. I love Jonah, but I'm just like, come on, man. What did you expect? How did you expect this situation to end? In my opinion. But I mean, what do I know?
Well, there's a reason actually that we learn why Stephanie is mad at Jonah, and it's because he gave a press conference where he told his side of the story, but Stephanie's side of the story was not given. However, that is such a little interesting subplot that I really kind of hope that we can see further on, because I want to see like, and I think it was the same something that happened with Isaac. It's like, what has made Stephanie tick and be like, I'm mad at you and I'm mad at you, so don't try it and don't try it. And here's your candygram heart saying you messed up.
Well, I think Stephanie's taking back her independence. You know, we're going to talk a little bit later in the recaps about something that happened in Stephanie's life that I think makes her stronger when she is standing up to men. And I think the way, Kristina, that you embody that and you stop letting people take advantage of the character of Stephanie, I feel it in my soul when I hear it. And I think our listeners do too, which is what, you know, has always, in my opinion, made the character of Stephanie the heroine of the show, because she is saving herself. And that's why I said the final scene when she was like, game on, Donovan, like, you want to do this? Like, let's do this. That to me spoke more words than her pulling the damsel in distress, because like you, Kristina, have said that, oh, he's a useless character. Well, I feel like Stephanie too was just like, what the, this, he can't do nothing. I can do this myself. So I really like that.
Yeah, well, moving on. Emma ignites her scheme and her affair with Alex. It's cut short by the over-dramatic Mama Lucinda. I like to call her Mama Lou. I feel like we should give her the nickname Mama Lou. And I also have the notes. It reminded me of the Friends episode whenever Joey is back on Days of Our Lives and takes over the role of Susan Sarandon's Vixen. And he's just like, Jessica, you don't recognize your mother? I love
that I always loved that tie-in with Friends and Days of Our Lives. I always thought that was so cool. It was always so fun.
No, I just love Lucinda. Just Lucinda's character is just so over the top, and I picture her as for the hardcore classic Guiding Light fans as a Carrie Nye who played Susan Piper. Susan Piper. I always think of Reba going, Miss Pipper? Susan Piper. And just so dramatic and flowy gowns. And I love this. I love this fun aspect because Gunnar kind of really threw a wrench in Emma's plan.
Yeah, he did. Going to the next part, JJ and Danielle discuss their past with their father. Their father's violent homophobic death leads them closer together. That tugged at my heartstrings. Being a young Black man and knowing kind of the story, like, I mean, my story didn't go like this, thank God, but I know how it feels, having someone, when you're gay, target your family. I remember when I was in school, I was always afraid. I had a younger brother. Well, I have two younger brothers, but one who went to the same school as me. And I was always afraid for how people would treat him based on the fact that I was gay. And I think that you sometimes put the blame on yourself when your friends or your family or people close to you are affected by who and what you are. So I really felt JJ and Danielle in those scenes, and you really got to see another side of Danielle. I think every scene that she has with JJ, you see this heart come out of her, and how much their love for each other is. And I thought it was such a beautiful scene. And I did tear up because, like I said, it did make me think of things that I've been through, and it's tough.
Dorrell, first off, I want to say your stories are totally affecting me. You are loved no matter what, and I think that goes out to anybody out there who is listening, just because this day and age of what is going on with much, hopefully, with change and things like that, you are loved no matter what. And I think that big ups to the writers for doing that. And then I think that it's going to be going deeper and diving into that. Hopefully we see that in the tragedy brings this brother and sister together. So I think that hats off to Forever and a Day for being able to reach someone like Dorrell who can relate to that. I mean, I definitely had a different story. So I think that it's good that we're learning for listeners out there who don't have something like that. But believe me, you are loved, and also just like we love all of our listeners. Kristina, look, please take it away because I need to shoot.
Yes. So sorry. So the next one, Stephen is surprised that Melanie has a boyfriend. Melanie cut pleasantry short to confront his drug ways and how it affected her, plus Colin. What is a perplexed mother to do? So Melanie is such a very interesting character for me. Obviously, her and Antoine are very close and they're friends. For me, we're seeing much more to Melanie than this mystery when she first came to town and in the first season, and you're seeing all the complexities in and out of her, but you see that she as well really cares about those around her, and she really wants to desperately, be a part of their lives again. Kristina, what do you feel about Melanie, and do you feel that her and Stephanie could have something, moving forward as, to lean on each other? What are your thoughts?
With Melanie, that's an interesting character, an interesting story. I'm just looking forward to seeing, what's going to unfold with that. I know for a while Donovan wanted to kill both Melanie and Stephanie, so I guess they have that in common. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what'll happen, and who knows, maybe Donovan loving / hating the both of them maybe will have them be friends at some point. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope so as well.
The part that who I'm thinking of the most in this whole situation is how is this going to affect Colin? I mean, this is a huge secret that whenever that this bomb drops, it's going to destroy his life, so many lives, and that's going to be huge, and I cannot wait for that payoff.
I mean, those are one of the soap moments so that we look forward to, right? Because as fans of the show as well as people in the show, we know it's what's going on, and it's kind of like when you see those daytime serials as well, which is why honestly Forever and a Day should be on a network television, because for real, like, you see those moments of like, who the baby dad is, or the situation, you're like, when this drops, it's going to be huge. And it reminds me of On Passions. I know we talked about that earlier. They had Ethan, and he was Sam Bennett's son, with Ivy, and it went on for so long. And when it finally dropped, and you were like, we know when this drops, it's going to be absolutely insane. And it was just that it blew the whole town apart. And in fact, that whole secret and the ripple effects of it lasted all the way to the series finale. It was insane. So I know it's going to be great for Forever and a Day.
We're on to them. This is going to be something big. Something else that's big is Caitlin apologizes for being busy, but it falls on deaf ears as Lakin doesn't like Sky being around. She tells her, she's just like, I don't like her. Caitlin assures her that Sky's in the past. It's her past. The two share a tender moment, but of course, how long can this last?
I don't think long at all. I mean, I think it's very interesting when you have an aspect of your past when you're trying to move forward with the present and the future. So, I mean, I think it's playing with fire, to be honest with you. I think there's some unresolved situations there. And I think that when you have those moments, it's always kind of like that ticking bomb as well that could always go off and it could always implode. I mean, for you, Kristina, have you ever experienced something like that? Or do you feel that this situation with them being adults, it could work itself out?
The only way that situation can work itself out is if Sky leaves town again and never comes back. Like, come on. It's like, yeah, I understand. She's like, I guess they're doing some sort of business deal and okay, whatever, do a business deal with somebody else. Like, no, interacting with an ex like that is never good for a current relationship. And especially when the ex is psycho, like Sky is psycho.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, if we're gonna talk about Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Sky is like the Augustus blackmailer. She's done so much as it is. And I always kind of enjoyed these plots on soaps whenever they would break, because happy couples are like the death of soaps. Until they are the death in a soap. But so I always love these little plots of like the ex comes back or the schemer. And I love this. I mean, this is another schemer on a whole nother level. I mean, like Emma's a schemer, Donovan, the villains are definitely schemers, but this villain, her true colors are not out yet, but I have a feeling that they're coming out soon. And then we have Gregory and Avery have a third date. Can this lead to a fourth? Well, not if Dominique has her way. And Dominique shows Gregory that she's watching him. She's like, I see you. What do we think of that?
I think the Gregory Avery romance is nice and cute and sweet. So I think that's nice to have a story where it seems like everything is just like a nice story with nice people. Well, I mean, Gregory does have some secrets and whatnot, but I mean, so far, let's see them, get closer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely, I love their romance, but this is another one of those plots where I cannot wait for Dominique to show that she's there. And she kind of is. I mean, she's showing him, but I want to see like the feisty side of Avery, because the confrontations on Forever and a Day are huge. So I cannot wait for Dominique to be like, you should just leave Gregory alone or something like that. I don't know what she's plotting or what she's planning, because we do know that Dominique wants money. She kind of comes in with like this pimp mentality. She's like, where's my money? So I feel like she's going to go after Avery and Gregory. So is Avery going to take it? That's my question. Oh my gosh, by the way, I have like so much snot running down my nose I'm an ugly crier. I really am. Oh, geez Louise. So now we're going to get to as I'm sniffling. Oh geez. We're going to get to the Stephanie standalone episode. First off, Kristina, what was it like? Did you know you were going to get a standalone episode? Did they tell you this was going to happen?
I don't remember because so much happened so long ago. I do know that we were going to delve deeper into Stephanie's story. I'm not sure at what point I was told that it was going to be an entire episode. Because I know at some point they told me, but I don't remember exactly when.
Yeah, and also, can I say it? And you're going to win some sort of award for this performance.
Oh,
because
thank
this
you.
Performance was amazing. I was listening to it, and it not only was just your portrayal but also everyone involved, but also the narration, the action. There was so much action to it. And I used to always, with standalone episodes, well, how do you feel about standalone episodes on soap operas?
I'm fine with them. You know, especially like the one that we did where I feel like it was really important to tell this story, and how else could you really go into it? I feel like you couldn't really go as deep as it needed to be and keep it at that same emotional level and have everything as it was if you had like all the other storylines and characters. I feel like that would kind of distract from like the seriousness of the issues that were being explored. And so I think sometimes it's kind of important to just really go there.
I agree. So it starts off with Stephanie throws her wine. I put in my notes here again. Who is gonna clean that up? I mean, Tracy. Tracy.
I love that Matthew's questions is like, who's cleaning this up?
I want to know, honestly, does she have a cleaner or something? But then she wants the painting that's given by Donovan. Let's discuss.
I mean, first of all, on the cleanup thing, I always think about that and soaps and stuff as well. And I'm just like, I mean, Sonny's throwing barware. Who's going to clean that shit up? Like, who's doing that? And so I agree. So, Steph, you know what? I always call you Stephanie, even though I know you're Kristina. Tell me about that. Like, how do you feel about the cleaning up process and then also the painting?
Well, the cleaning up process, you know, Kristina is the type of girl that if she had enough money, she would most definitely have a maid. Stephanie, I have a feeling, is the type of girl that really wouldn't want somebody in her home like that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of have a feeling that she wouldn't have a maid. So I kind of think that she's cleaning it herself, unless maybe if she can, you know, call one of these men over, I'm pretty sure they'd clean it for her. Like, I'm pretty sure if she was like, Isaac, come help me, I think he'd clean it. But yeah, so that's the whole cleaning thing. But yeah, throwing the wine on the painting, I'm glad she did that, because that was really how she felt in that moment of, yeah, you have this beautiful painting and I'm going to destroy it because you destroyed me. I'm destroying this painting. And I thought throwing the wine on it was perfect. I mean, even though like she did waste a good glass of wine, she could have drank that, but it seemed like she was already drinking enough wine. So
yeah,
right.
We do get to why Donovan kind of how they met. He womanized her at a New York City bar, and she's having a vision, and we find out that he used something of her past with her father, and it kind of played on her insecurities. So let's get into that. We're gonna go. We will get back to the whole, but this is a huge part. We learned that Stephanie was unfortunately raped, which is a huge something that we see a lot within, especially the older days of operas. And I have to ask Kristina, what was it like to play these scenes?
I mean, it was difficult because that's not something that anybody really, I think, wants to like even think about, have those thoughts even cross their mind of something so horrible. So yeah, it was difficult, but I know that it's important because there's a lot of people who that's their story. And I am a strong believer that everybody's story needs to be told, even if it's a difficult story to tell. Like, I want those people to be able to listen and hear that they're not alone. Like, even if something that horrible happened to them, they're not alone, and they can, I don't want to say move on, but they can still have a life and have a successful life. Because like, you'll notice Stephanie, even though that traumatic incident happened, she never gave up. She just continued to work hard and to be a success. And I feel like that's one of the biggest messages I want people who've had traumatic things like that happen to them know, is like, yes, that is horrible, but like, don't give up. Like, there's more life and better life beyond your hurt and your pain.
Of course. Yeah. So Dorrell, if you can, from the notes, we also learn about Stephanie's men in her life. We learned about Donovan. Can you tell us more about what happens with the two others. You know which two I'm talking about.
Yeah. Let's do two of them. Okay. Let's talk about Stephanie dreams of how she met Jonah at the magnifier. She throws herself at his political status. The two do what they normally do. Sex. Matthew, sex. Jonah admits to loving her, but that pesky press conference lingers over them. And we talked about this press conference earlier and, hoping that we see more about that. So, Kristina, why do you think that? I mean, we kind of talked just then that she, is drawn to his political power, but do you feel that a part of her does love Jonah and it's more than just being attracted to his political power and sex?
I think a part of her does, but at the same time, I think because of what happened to her first with her father and then with Donovan, I think she does love him in a way, but at the same time, when she met him, she knew he was a married politician. So I think she was pretty sure there probably wasn't much of a future there. And I think she kind of loves him, but she kind of knew okay, well, I don't have to give all of myself to him because he won't give all of himself to me. And that kind of made her feel more comfortable because last time she gave all of herself to Donovan and then he used information against her and manipulated her and whatnot. So I think she knew with Jonah, she never had to fully open up because he wouldn't. But now that he's divorced and he's not a politician, who knows what'll happen. But yeah, I do think she does love him somewhat.
And Dorrell, what about that other guy? Let's talk about that.
The other guy, the one you don't like to even say his name. Stephanie seduces Isaac over whiskey. Isaac apologizes for everything in her dream. She is too upset over everything he did to her. She wishes to confront him one day until one more kiss happens. Stephanie, girl. What?
He's very aggressive. I will say Stephanie is very, very aggressive with Isaac. Don't you think?
What do you think is the ultimate goal when it comes to Isaac and Stephanie, though? Because I saw a very different and felt something very different, obviously, with her scene with Isaac over the scene with Jonah. So, Kristina, just from your point of view, what do you think Stephanie feels when it comes to Isaac?
I'm not sure. I think she loves him too, but I think, it's definitely a different relationship than with Jonah, especially because, yes, he was her boss, but he wasn't married. He wasn't running for office. I feel like with Isaac, there's kind of more of a potential for a normal romance and normal relationship. Although with both Isaac and Jonah, there's a huge age difference. And so I think that probably kind of stems from all the issues with her father, possibly. But yeah, I do kind of think with Isaac, it's kind of more of a pure love as opposed to well, there's a wife and there's this and that. And so I think it kind of was off to a better start than with Jonah.
I totally agree about that. I kind of think Isaac is the one for Stephanie. But there's somebody else that we meet. Of course, we were talking about her earlier. Stephanie's mother. She gets a call from her. It's kind of this strained call, but they have a good relationship. What do you think might happen with this call, with this future?
I think the relationship with her mother is especially interesting because you notice in earlier episodes, she was telling everybody her mother was dead. So this episode, you find out that she was lying about that. And she even, mentions that to her mother on the phone. And I mean, it's kind of understandable in a way because when she was getting raped as a child, her mother wasn't there. Her mother didn't protect her from that. When she was put into foster care, again, her mother wasn't there. She didn't protect her from whatever she may or may not have gone through in foster care because her mother wasn't there. It's so it's kind of understandable. She would just tell people her mother's dead instead of going into the whole story about, the abandonment and rape and foster care. But it was definitely, I think the viewers were surprised to hear that the mother was alive. But I think
And
the
the
relationship.
story, by the way, it just keeps getting better and better. That's why Forever and a Day reached 5,000 listeners. Congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
Going, Dorrell, Kristina, this has been such a fun, very poignant episode for all of us. I loved having you on. I love working with both of you. I thank you. Dorrell, where can they find Forever and a Day? Tell those listeners that don't already know.
Well, FFAD podcast on Twitter and all social media. Make sure you're following us, guys. Make sure you're keeping up to date because guess what? There's probably going to be more casting announcements announced soon because Candace and Casey have surprises on the way. So please do that. Also follow myself. I am Dorrell Anthony on Instagram and Dorrell Anthony on Twitter to keep up the conversation. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Matthew, where can they find you?
Don't you forget to subscribe to JLJ Media if you haven't done it already. That's where you get your most info for Forever and a Day, where you can see Kristina on her many JLJ Media projects. And if you want to follow me at Preston NYC, but also find all of us on JLJ Media on Forever and a Day. Y'all, I heart you all. I heart you all on Valentine's Day, and I heart all the listeners out there. So
thank you guys so much. Until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Bye.